members and non-members are welcome to all meetings. So we're glad you're here, and we're glad that we can provide this format for you to hear about interesting topics that the island finds interesting, right? So today, just to let you know, we have a packed agenda tonight, and we have a few other items on the agenda. So we're going to try to run a tight ship here. And like I mentioned, a few of you may know that we have Jefferson Land Trust on the agenda tonight. And we'll break at 7:45 will be the time that you have, right? So a little bit more, like an hour and 20 minutes. So, and then we're going to hear from Will from PUD about our cable internet on the island here today. And then our island committees have some updates. And then we're going to hear about the Citizen of the Year for Marrowstone Island. And wrap up just a little after 8 p.m. Yes. So, like I said, membership is available for people who live on the island or own land on the island. And Bob Jaffia back there is raising his hand. If you want to become a member, go talk to him and help us keep this great institution and public service available for everybody here on the island. For those of you who want to rewatch it, or for those that had missed the meeting, I am videotaping it, although I'm not videotaping this part right now because I didn't press the on button, but we'll get to it right away, and that will be on marrowstoneisland.org. That's our website, and we'll be posting that as soon as possible, as soon as my little cell phone can upload all the YouTube videos. It will be up there. So, I'm asking for questions on cards. We're collecting them here, and to be submitted to a MICA volunteer. Colleen's over here on the wall here, so if you want to raise a card, and she'll come and get it for you. And that is how we are going to take questions. We ask for a respectful audience, and we are here to work together to get through the agenda and provide enough time for everybody who deserves space here today. So, without further ado, I will bring the microphone over to you, Eric, and you can introduce.
Yeah, hi everybody. So I'm Eric. I know lots of you, hello, and I don't know lots of you otherwise. So I work as Director of Stewardship and Resilience at Jefferson Land Trust, and I think we know why we're all here. I'm going to be talking a little bit about our vision for this property, for the special property on sort of the north end of Marrowstone Island. And I guess I want to start just by saying how grateful we are that MICA exists and that this is a great opportunity to do this. And so thank you for inviting us to be here and share this. I'm grateful for everybody's interest and love for this property. And we're here to answer as many questions as possible. And so I've got a number of slides here to help describe our vision for this place and how we came to that and what this kind of looks like and feels like. And I want to emphasize that this marks the beginning of some community outreach around this. This is we're in this period of discovery with this vision for this place, and we recognize there's been a lot of interest about this online. I've had some great conversations with other folks in the community, and we're just happy to have this opportunity to be here face-to-face with you all to address questions, concerns that are out there. And there will be more opportunities as well. So don't feel like this is the only time you'll get to learn about this or hear about this. We could do more of these kind of things as well. We only have about an hour here, so we'll have more time. We're probably going to run out of time, but we're going to do our best to get through the information that we have here. And again, I'm here to share information on the Land Trust vision to own and manage a portion of that old Morningtide golf course property and to manage it as a kind of green cemetery, what we call a conservation burial ground. And I'll start by sharing some history of the land and how we arrived at this vision for long-term care and habitat restoration and access management for the property. And then I'll share some details about what we can envision for the conservation burial on the site, including some anticipated impacts and changes. And we'll have some question and answers, and you guys can jot down your questions on your cards if you have some. I've got a bunch here. I expect a lot of these might be answered in our presentation. So let's get started. I'm just going to start by just saying something about the Land Trust. A lot of folks know about the Land Trust, a lot of folks might not. But Jefferson Land Trust again, I'm the Director of Stewardship and Resilience there, is a nonprofit land conservation organization that works particularly here in this part of the planet. This place is what this nonprofit organization is really focused on. And our mission is to help the community preserve open space, working lands, and habitat forever. We work in permanent land conservation. Been around a little over 35 years as an organization. Again, we work in just Jefferson County. Most of our work is in East Jefferson County, but we also work in the West End with different partners, mostly on habitat protection over there. The way we work, some of you are familiar with this, but we own land. People give us land. We acquire land. We have about 30 different properties that we own and manage, primarily for habitat and biodiversity purposes, like we try salmon habitat corridors, things like that. We're trying to help protect these places, take care of them across East Jefferson County primarily. We also do conservation easements, and conservation easements are kind of permanent deed restriction on a property. And so these are properties that are otherwise privately owned, and the land trust holds a permanent deed restriction or a permanent real estate interest in the property, ensuring that what we call conservation values are honored on that property over time. And again, what we mean by conservation values means habitat values. It also can mean things like farmland values. You've seen maybe some land trust signs around farms. We do a lot of farmland protection and ensuring that those healthy soils are managed well for future generations. And again, we're working in perpetuity conservation so that future generations will have these properties producing their benefits, their ecological benefits and their farmland benefits forever. And then we also run a number of like community programs. Some of you have participated in like our natural history course we run in the community. We have a lot of different community engagement programs. We have education commitments at every school district in East Jefferson County. And so we're out there in the community. We're really just a community organization, a community-based organization, dedicated to this particular place and trying to bring benefits to the community through our conservation work. So that's a little bit about the land trust, and what that looks like on the ground for as far as the conservation work is all these polygons, these colors are places the land trust has helped protect permanently. So the green areas are the places that have these conservation easements on them. They're otherwise privately owned, but the land trust holds a conservation easement and ensures that those places maintain their conservation values over time. And then the blue areas are the places that the land trust owns, and in almost every case, those are places that have permanent habitat protections on the reasons we own them is for habitat purposes primarily. And then the red polygons are places we've helped protect. We work with a lot of partners. The big way the land trust achieves anything is through partnership. And those are with different partners, different landowners, different agencies, public agencies. Some of those are private lands, some of those are public lands, but they're permanently protected from subdivision and development typically. And what that looks like on Marrowstone Island is this. So like this is just a zoom in on this. You all are familiar with some of these properties. So this is like Twin Vista Ranch, right? Mm-hmm. There's a land trust sign there. That's about a 26-acre farm. That's owned by the state through the Washington State University. But the land trust holds a conservation easement on the property to ensure that it's always going to be managed appropriately as a farm. There's a couple building envelopes on the property where things can change, like building structures can change. Otherwise, the farmland soils, the farmland function is protected through a conservation easement. The blue area here is what we call the Chilcote Preserve, and that's a property that was miraculously purchased through a lot of support from people on the island. And we were able to acquire that property so it could be permanently protected and not otherwise exploited or subdivided or developed. And now it has a trail across the way that a lot of people love, and there's a parking area you've probably seen. And then there's a conservation easement up here as well with some, we call it Kurtzo conservation easement. It's pretty small as far as conservation easements go, but it's a habitat property with a small building envelope where a house is, and otherwise it's got a nice forest that's protected forever. And then of course the property that we've been talking about. And I think it's worth saying something about stewardship too. When we think about what we mean by permanent protection, the conservation easement here, this is something that we monitor on an annual basis at least. We visit these properties, file a monitoring report, ensure that these places are managed in a way that's consistent with that agreement, that permanent condition, that permanent conservation easement. The same thing goes for the property in red that we're talking about, the old Morning Tide Golf Course property portion. And again, we're here to talk about this Morning Tide spot as a conservation burial ground. Missing my photo, there it is. The conservation burial, just to give it a definition, It's a type of natural or green burial that helps preserve, enhance, and restore a natural area. In conjunction with the conservation organization, guarantees preservation of the burial ground in perpetuity. And so in other ways, it's a way to protect and restore and take care of a special place. And it's kind of green cemetery. So we're talking about a cemetery really, but it's really the natural, it's different than what you're used to. It's a natural cemetery in a way. And one that combines green burial practices with land conservation and ecological restoration. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's say that again. So one that combines green burial practices with land conservation and ecological restoration. And the property we're talking about doing that on is the one in red up there. And you know Marrowstone Island probably better than anybody. Everybody here in this room knows Marrowstone Island, and we're talking about that place in red. It's about a 36-acre private property, and again, it's private land on Marrowstone Island that is currently managed as meadow and open space. Some native forest perimeter, some native forest pockets within it, and some man-made ponds and bridges, and some planted horticultural trees. And taking a closer look at this, just to get us all oriented. This is what it looks like today. This is a photo from May, it turns out. And this is Schwartz Road here. And then you've got Knowlton Road here, right? And there's like a central wetland feature. And there's a big pond here, there's a pond here. And this blue area here, this is what is called the conservation easement, a development area or a building envelope. So I'll talk a little bit more about the circumstances of the conservation easement, but the only place any kind of development can ever occur on this property now that it's been protected with the conservation easement is right up here in this blue area. That's called the building envelope. Any kind of development, any kind of big like house or infrastructure or anything would have to go in that zone, not anywhere else on the property because of the condition of the conservation easement that's on the property already. And this is what it looked like in 1951. This is an old photo from 1951. Showing it was all forested, and so that wetland features right through here. It looks like there was some agricultural activity down here, maybe some grazing or something. Here's Schwartz Road, and just give you an indication of the kinds of changes that have occurred here. And if we really flash back, to the Ice Age, of course, this whole place was covered in ice, 4,000 feet of ice, and then it was like a tundra landscape after the ice melted off about 15,000, 16,000 years ago. And then it got warmer and it was more like a savanna landscape. And then it became the mild maritime climate that we know now, and became this kind of forested environments that we're used to in the lowland Puget Sound area, with some prairie landscapes around. As maybe a lot of you know, that lowland Puget Sound for the last several thousand years was a mix of forest and prairie, and the prairies were indigenous and managed through fire mostly, to produce a number of different benefits.
What year was that again?
That was 1951. This is 1985 over here. And so that looks like that agricultural area kind of filled in. And then over here, looks like some more agricultural area happened, maybe some grazing or something was going on in the 80s. Maybe somebody here knows. Is it 1985?
We should have an 85.
Okay, yeah. So somebody was maybe grazing or something. And then, again, Schwartz Road, Knowlton Road. And then otherwise that central wetland area here. And then in the 90s, as a lot of you all know, maybe watch this all happen, it was entirely converted to a golf course. So this is a private golf course, the Morningtide Golf Course extended over this other property. And I don't know which holes were which, but this is, completely converted area. So the wetland area was completely excavated out. Ponds were excavated. There was contouring of the land. There was a lot of sand brought in, a lot of other soil supplements brought in. Probably you might remember the dump truck loads that were coming in, maybe some of you. Major conversion and change. And so a really big difference from its natural condition for the last 1,000 years. And the forest type that it used to be like, I think, was a lot like what's here now, which on the adjacent properties, which are these Douglas fir, western red cedar, salal, madrona, bush and spray, bald hip rose plant associations. And it was managed, otherwise, after that and turned into a golf course, it was managed like that as a golf course for, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 years. And then it was really in dire condition and it needed to be sold through a bankruptcy process. And at the point when this came up for sale, there was a real potential for this property, these 11 parcels, to be acquired and set up for development. There's a real potential for that. But all 11 of these parcels, all 36 acres in red here, excuse me, were acquired by another Maristone Island resident. Many of you, are friends with her, and that's Annie Mize. And her intentions were really to acquire it so that it would not be subdivided and developed, and to manage it as kind of natural area. It was